Hi friends, I wanted to give you a quick run through of what a walking foot does and how it functions. So this happens to be the BERNINA walking foot, and it's their new, at least new as of, July, August 2026, their new 9mm walking foot. However, all walking foots function relatively the same. So when I open this up, and I have already taken part of the packaging out of here, this is the walking foot itself. Some walking feet will have a bar here instead of this U shape. This needs to either go, if it's just a bar, it goes over the needle bar, or if you have this style, then the needle bar goes inside here. And the idea is then that see if we can get a good picture here. As the needle goes up and down here, these upper feed dogs also go up and down, and they pair with the lower feed dogs to feed a quilt sandwich or multiple layers or extra thick layers or fussy fabrics like minky through as a unit instead of allowing it to slide potentially and causing puckers. So that's how it works. The needle bar, every time it takes a stitch, the needle bar in here or under the bar if you have that style, as it goes up and down, it causes the upper feed dogs to engage with the lower feed dogs and feeds everything through as a unit. So it grabs it like a sandwich. Well, quilt sandwich. So let's look at some of the other stuff that's in the box, and then I'll show you how to put it on. So not all manufacturers of walking feet come with so many options. This one has two other sole plates. So what's on our walking foot right now is an open toe sole. So this is completely open here, so you have very good visibility of what you're stitching. This is the standard one, standard sole plate. It's got a bar right here, so you don't have quite as good visibility, but that bar helps keep your fabric nice and flat. Sometimes you can get tunneling with that foot. And then our other stitch plate is this one. This is called a stitch in the ditch plate. So it's got this bar here. See this bar, this fin? The idea is that you run that right down the seam of your quilt or whatever it is you're stitching, and then your stitches are right in the center of your seam there. So if you have trouble doing in the ditch and you end up near the ditch more often than in the ditch, a sole plate like that can help. Okay, let's look at how you change the sole plate on this particular style foot. So in the box there's a screwdriver, there's a little tiny screw right there. You loosen this up, just like normal, lefty loosey, righty tighty. What you do when you loosen this up is it opens up this fork, these black forks right here, so that this stitch plate, no, this is not a stitch plate, this sole plate loosens up. Let's get it a little bit looser. And then this will pop out. Really, it will. Trust me. Get both my hands here. There we go. So that you can change the plate on, I don't know how well you can see that, on the little forks here. There you can see it. There's a little peg that sticks out on one side and two pegs that stick out on the other side. Those pair up with holes on the sole plate. See there? So if we wanted to change this, let's say we're going to put our stitch in the ditch one on, turn it upside down, and then we just want to make sure we're matching up our holes with our pegs. So we have one peg here, one hole here. So we're going to put that in there, and then our two on this side. And pair them up. Okay, you kind of heard it snap. So the way I do it is that I will hold the sole plate against the side with the two pins, and you can see there's a gap right here. As I tighten the screw here, that fork is going to close up. So as it starts to get close, when it gets close, it's not hitting the hole properly, but once it gets close, then I can move it and it snaps in, and then I can finish tightening this so that it's good and secure. Okay, what else is in the box? This is an attachment to hold your seam guides. So this goes on, oops, upside down. So this little lip right here goes on the top of the walking foot right here. Some models have a hole in the side that's the bar is just held on with friction. This particular one has two seam guides, a left and a right. This happens to be a left. And the way it works is that there's holes here and here. So we need to line those up, fit our seam guide in, like so. And then we would measure, so see how it moves? We would measure from the needle over however far we want to make our parallel seam. And then, we would adjust our guide accordingly and then tighten this screw up back here. Oh, I had it pretty loose. So let's say we want it there, tighten that up, and then this does not move back and forth. So you can get nice parallel seams by lining the guide up with your previous line of stitching. Then your new line of stitching will be here. And then again, there's left and right guides depending on what you're sewing. All right, so I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go over to my machine and I'm going to show you how to install this on your machine. Okay, here we are at my machine. I'm going to show you how to put this bad boy on your machine. So the way I like to do it is this part that goes up and down, that goes over the needle bar. I put my thumb underneath here, and then right here, there's like a little opening. So that's how we're going to get the foot over the cone right here. So we're going to hold it like this. Okay. That U shape of that fork is going to go over the needle bar. So here's our needle bar, and then that U shape has one on top, one on bottom. If you have a walking foot style that just has a bar without the U shape, then the bar would go on top, kind of like that. But since this one has the U shape, it's going to go like that. And then we're going to slide this over so that the cone here goes in that little opening right here. See that? And then when we lift it up, push it up, we can engage our little lever that holds it in place. So a couple things that can help you with that is that if you have a knee lift and you're having trouble installing this on here, you can use your knee lift to get a little bit more height so that it's a little bit easier to get that in. Or also, if you have, the style of machine that has a presser foot lifter in the back, if you lift that up with your hand, you can also get just a tiny bit more height in there. So the way it works then is, and I'm just going to turn my hand wheel so you can see it. When that needle bar goes up and down, it also engages the upper feed dogs that engage with the, or pair up with the lower feed dogs. Now how the walking foot differs from dual feed is that, and I'm going to do this without a foot on so you can see it a little bit better. When you have dual feed, you only have a single feed dog up here that feeds the fabric through, but you have two on the bottom. And so you have your two on the bottom and then your one in the center that goes between. Dual feed does a very good job at feeding two layers of fabric through. This feeds the upper layer, these feed the lower layer. However, if you have more than two layers of fabric, a walking foot is going to do a better job because it sandwiches those multiple layers between the two pairs of feed dogs to feed through your machine. I hope that answers some of your questions. If you have any more questions, you leave me a comment. Thanks. Like and subscribe if you like what I'm